Hi, this particular video was shot on a day when my brain went on holiday, which is why it sounds like I'm speaking to you from the bottom of a well. I really apologize for the audio quality. I didn't even notice until after I'd finished recording, but it's still pretty clear. And I have closed captioning, so you could turn that on. I'm learning with every video. So one of the questions that I've seen of late on BookTube is the question of diversity. How do we diversify our reading material? I've mentioned this before, but when I was growing up, a lot of the conversations that we are having today just simply didn't exist, or else they existed in very particular reading circles to which I didn't have access. So a lot of the questions that have come up around reading, who are you reading? What are you reading about? These are questions that didn't really occur to me until I grew up and moved away and became an adult. So a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about in this video is my personal journey and my lived experience as a reader out and about in the big world. So I'd like to start by saying that I think it's great that so many people are now talking about this, and I'm particularly happy that the people that I'm following on BookTube are talking about it and have had videos up, and some of them, they've been talking about this for a long time. But I'm also concerned that a lot of these conversations prop up at specific times. So for example, when the Black Lives Matter movement kicked off in the United States and then we had the worldwide protests, we saw a lot of people recommending Black authors. And I appreciate the thought and the desire to do something that prompted a lot of those videos, and that prompted a lot of bookstagrammers and other readers to go out and buy Black written books or books about the Black experience and to educate themselves about racism. But I'm also scared that a lot of those books are books that you read for that particular moment, and there's no real momentum being built around supporting Black authors in publishing on a regular, ongoing basis. So I'm really happy to see Black authors hit the bestseller list, but the point is that it shouldn't take a massive movement on a worldwide scale, a once-in-a-generation movement, in order to get them on those lists. Similarly, we just had Pride Month in June, and I saw a lot of people talking about Pride books, about books about LGBTQ characters and about the LGBTQ experience, and they were written by LGBTQ people. And that's great, but again, it shouldn't be a once-in-a-year thing. And I'm not calling out people or, casting aspersions on people's motives, but I'm just saying that it can't be a once-in-a-year thing, because it kind of sounds like to a lot of you this is homework. And that's not the goal. The goal is not your education. The goal is equality. So don't tokenize these people. Don't tokenize people who are different from you. Don't think to yourself, oh, I need to read a Black author. I need to read an Indigenous author. I need to read a gay person. That's not the point. The point is, take a look at your shelves. Look at what's missing from it. Look at the missing voices. And then instead of you looking for something that you would usually never read, but force yourself to read in order to be a better person, instead find somebody from a community that is missing from your shelves who is writing in the genres that interest you. Do you like fantasy? Great. SFF as a genre has exploded over the past few years, and you'll find voices from the queer community, the Black community, Indians, Middle Easterners. There are so many different voices that you can explore. Did you take a look at your shelf and find out that you don't read as many women authors? Well, good news. Women write all kinds of different genres. They write literary fiction, they write romance, they write fantasy, they write murder mysteries, non-fiction, memoir. Name a genre and you can find a female author. Have you never read a book with a queer lead? Well, this is your time, because there are so many different genres with queer characters. So rather than you looking at the bestseller list or taking a cue from somebody on BookTube like me or anybody else and saying, well, this is something that everybody is reading, so I guess I should read it. Don't get caught up in the moment. The kind of books that you read when you are reading for the moment or to pay lip service to something is the kind of book that you will buy, you will read, you won't appreciate, and you'll just put it away. And who does that serve? Nobody. But if you were to follow your own interests, if you were to find an author who writes the kind of things that you find interesting, that you have always loved, then that might be an author who brings a fresh voice and a fresh perspective to ideas and themes that you have always loved. And that will only expand and enrich your enjoyment of that genre. And it's not even that difficult to find these recommendations. I mean, you have so many different avenues to find recommendations today. You're already on BookTube because you're watching this video, but you could go on Goodreads, you could see what your favorite authors are reading. You could see the kind of lists that your favorite authors are being put on and look at all the other kinds of authors that are being put on those lists. Read some reviews, go on Bookstagram, follow interesting people on social media and see what they're up to. Social media, especially Twitter, gets a really bad rap, but the thing is, if you follow people who are passionate about something, more often than not, they can't stop themselves from talking about things that they love. I have found so many different voices, I've gotten so many different suggestions that I would never have discovered on my own, just from observing other people's conversations. More often than not, I'm not even in the conversation, I'm not even participating, I'm just looking at what people are passionate about. One other thing that I sometimes see online, and I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but sometimes it's really painfully obvious, don't pat yourself on the back for being inclusive. I get it, you're making an effort, and everything that we do on social media is in the quest for validation. But you need to understand, when you read things by other people, when you are walking a mile in somebody else's shoes through their book, they're doing you a favor. They're throwing open the doors to a whole world that you didn't even know existed until you started reading their work. They're showing you the interiors of a psychology and an emotional landscape that you could never have even imagined until they invited you in. So if this is a transaction, then you are most definitely the beneficiary. I'm an Indian woman who grew up reading mostly Anglo-American literature growing up. The Indian publishing scene wasn't anywhere near as developed as it is today when I was a child. And I always think that that is to my detriment, but it also taught me to empathize and to consider people as people without labeling them, because what I was engaging with was with their emotions rather than their physical descriptions. Not to sound all kumbaya, but like under the hood, we're all pretty much the same. And what a privilege it is to be living in 2020 when it's so much more easier to access the books written by people who are as unlike you as possible. I'd really like to have a discussion about this topic. If you are watching this and you have thoughts or ideas or recommendations or disagreements, you don't have to agree with everything that I say, but if you feel some type of way about this topic, then I want to hear from you. I want to know what you are thinking, especially in 2020 with all the things that are going on. So leave a comment below. For more videos, please hit the subscribe button.